Hello and welcome to the module number 4 of the Digital Literacy course. In this module, we will talk about the digital identity and the European digital identity, and especially we will try to give some advices on how to protect your identity on social media. But first, let's start by giving a definition of what digital identity is. Digital identity refers to the information utilized by computer systems to represent external entities, including a person, organization, application, or device. When used to describe an individual, it encompasses a person's compiled information and plays a crucial role in automating access to computer-based services, verifying identity online, and enabling computers to mediate relationships between entities. Digital identity for individuals is an aspect of a person's social identity and can also be referred to as online identity. Digital identity has numerous impacts on society, individuals, and nations. One of the most significant impacts is on privacy. Digital identities can be used to track an individual's online activities and gather information about their interests, behaviors, and preferences. This information can then be used by companies and governments to target individuals with personalized ads and messages, or to simply monitor their activities for security or law enforcement purposes. As Schaffer and Goldstone argue, this raises important questions about the balance between privacy and security and the rights of individuals to control their own data. An individual's digital identity is often linked to their civil or national identity, and many countries have instituted national digital identity systems that provide digital identities to their citizenry. The European Digital Identity Regulation, known as European EID, is based on the fact that electronic identification is one of the tools to ensure secure access to online services and to carry out electronic transactions in a safer way. Electronic identification can guarantee the unambiguous identification of a person, and it ensures the right service is delivered to the person who is really entitled to do it, for example, for banking purposes. However, the lack of a common legal basis has prevented member states from recognizing and accepting electronic identification schemes issued in other member states. The insufficient cross-border interoperability of national schemes prevents citizens and businesses from benefiting fully from a digital EU. The Commission set out a number of targets and milestones for electronic identification in its Communication 2030 Digital Compass, which is called the European Way for the Digital Decade. For example, by 2030, all key public services should be available online. All citizens will have access to electronic medical records, and 100% of citizens will have access to secure electronic identification, meaning that they are recognized throughout the Union, enabling them to have full control over identity transactions and shared personal data. Under the eIDAS regulation, EU member states may, on a voluntary basis, notify and recognize national electronic identification schemes in their member states. The recognition of notified electronic identification became mandatory in 2018. Yet, there is no requirement for member states to develop a national electronic identification and to make it interoperable with those in other member states. This has led to many discrepancies between countries. The new proposal for a regulation on digital identity will address shortcomings in eIDAS by improving the effectiveness of the framework and extending its benefits to the private sector. Member states will offer citizens and businesses digital wallets that will be able to link various aspects of their national digital identities. These may be provided by public authorities or the private sector, if they are recognized by the member states, of course. Consumers should also be able to access services online without having to use private platforms or unnecessarily sharing personal data. They will have full control of the data they share. Under the Digital Europe program, the Commission is facilitating work to develop, implement, and scale up the European Digital Identity Framework. The actions aim to arrive at a set of technical references, standards, components, and solutions, including an application of the EU Digital Identity Wallet to be made available to member states. So the major project dates at a glance are that in April 2023, the pilot project will start development activities. Then in autumn 2023 some things will be available, which are the technical specifications describing the functioning of the wallet and the first version of the EU Digital Identity Wallet prototype. Then it's supposed to be in April 2025 that the pilot projects will end their testing phase, and in 2025 the first nationwide wallets will be available for citizens according to current planning. Now let's talk about how you can protect your personal information on social media, especially as you will be ambassadors of Diaspora Vote. It's important for you to know how to protect your digital identities on social media. First, we have to remember that our personal information are the safest when they are not shared entirely on social media. Social media will always be a trade-off between connection and protection. The more you share on social media, the more information about your life can be stolen. So it's really hard to strike a balance, but there are three areas where you can make small changes to protect your personal information on social media. And these areas are sharing, security, and surroundings. The first thing that we have to remind is that we don't share identification numbers. So you might not think so, but your identity can be stolen with just your ID. Identification and financial information like your social security number or driver's license number, bank account numbers, and passport number should never make it to a social media site. This can be used immediately for identity theft and more. And sometimes it's not even possible to change your social security number even after identity theft. But when I know that when we are first-time drivers, proud world travelers, and excited entrepreneurs, it's easy to think of our license as something to show off on social media. But please be careful not to do that. The second point is also to share less in the About section. Social media platforms let you share all kinds of personal information online, but all this information just adds to your online footprint. Just because a field is offered doesn't mean that you need to fill it in. So consider leaving information blank on your social media profile or only giving a broad answer. For example, enter the industry you're in instead of a specific employer. Even seemingly harmless information like your maiden name or hometown can help hackers crack your security questions. The third point is that it's really useful to use two-factor authentication, avoiding SMS. So two-factor authentication is a security measure that requires a one-time code, either from an app on your phone or a text message, in addition to your password. Today, most major social media accounts include this feature. Since these codes are only valid for a few minutes, they are more secure, but they are even stronger since they require whoever's trying to log in to have a password and the right device, unlikely in most hacking scenarios. A pro tip is to use an authenticator app like Google or Microsoft instead of SMS for an extra layer of security. The third point is to watch your back when you are out in public. In fact, if you are at the local coffee shop and want to browse Instagram, what's the safest way to do it? So first off, there's a type of identity theft that is called shoulder surfing, where wandering eyes lurk over your shoulder as you are typing in your password to any social media account. Beware of prying eyes anytime you're using your mobile device to sign into any online account in public. Secondly, we must avoid public Wi-Fi as it is surprisingly easy for hackers to intercept your connection and collect all the data. A better option is to use a private hotspot from your phone. If you must use Wi-Fi, consider a VPN, which scrambles the data you send and makes your location untraceable. For any site, but especially when logging in or entering credit card data, always check for an HTTPS connection that is often represented by a green padlock symbol. Another point is to pay close attention to security alert emails. So email can be one of the best safeguards for your social media accounts. Notifications of failed login attempts or changes to your password could be a warning sign of a hacking attempt. Add two-factor authentication if you have it already, and consider changing your password. Delete expired social media accounts, because we all have online accounts that we never use, and every social networking site you keep open is an extra window of vulnerability. So I suggest you to delete unused accounts and think carefully before signing up for new accounts. Finally, it's also important to not ignore software updates. Some social media risks work because they exploit bugs in your computer, phone, or tablet. So you can protect yourself actually from these types of cyber attacks by updating to the most recent software, which has stronger code and fewer bugs. Even if you do your best to keep your social media accounts secure and private, hackers and scammers find always ways to access your personal information. In recent years, social media sites have become targets for hackers who want to leak your information in data breaches, and even sell it on the dark web. Here are some of the most recent social media data breaches, and they have happened in WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, so anywhere. And these social media are really used so much by every one of us that we should really pay a lot of attention. We have reached the end of the digital literacy course. I hope you have enjoyed and that you have learned something new. Anyways, we are waiting for your suggestions. If there is something that you would like to explore or you feel like should be included in this course, please write to us. Thank you.